Welcome to part 2 of the bathroom remodel series. This one's going to focus on structure and a lot of the stuff that needs to be done before the tile process starts. You'll notice how there's a slight change in the design. We're going to go with a pre-built shower base and pre-done, nice new glass doors. So let's jump right into it. Some additional tools that you may want for this stage. We have a level, we got a smaller level, we got a pipe cleaner, we got pipe cutter, we got some solder, we got some flux paste with a little brush for it, we got some PVC cement and glue. We'll see that again in the next video because I'm probably just going to dry fit it in this video. And then we have a hex wrench set, we got some MAP gas and some propane gas, we have a circular saw and a jigsaw. Make sure you have plenty of batteries. Some hand clamps. It'd be nice if you had some sort of a chop saw or miter saw. Some electrical tape, wire nuts, and scrap wire. I like to have a variety of different construction screws. I also love these screws, but they are quite expensive. We're going to need some pipe fittings. All the fittings that we are looking at are for 2-inch pipe. You might need some more 2-inch PVC pipe. It says it's good for drain, waste, and vent applications. You might need a trap fitting, like a P-trap. 90-degree street elbow. A 2-inch flexible coupling. 2-inch coupling. You might need a new toilet flange as well. We need a 2-inch compression shower drain. This one requires no caulk, and you can use PVC. And so we'll grab one of these. You might need some thread tape. Going to need a little bit of 1/2-inch copper. We're going to need some copper fittings. The main one that I need is the copper coupling. So we need a faucet repair kit. And it may just be an O-ring or something, but considering that this is 25 years old at least, I'm probably just going to replace the whole thing. And so I found this. We want to make sure it's the right height and looks to be pretty much the same. And so we'll take this home and try it out, this new one. Let's grab some plumber's grease. I'm going to grab a sheet of 3/4 inch square edge OSB 4x8. Looks like this. Don't forget to professionally strap it on top of your roof. I'm ripping out this thin sheet of flooring that was on top of the subfloor. So this is now gone. This comes right up easily with the pry bar. Make sure everything's nice and clean with a dustpan and a broom and also a vacuum. So we're going to use some drywall screws and just suck this wall in here because you can kind of see how if I just pull on it, it's very loose and they do have some structure in there partially. So I'm going to be sucking that wall in real quick. I want to center this plumbing on the shower wall, so I got to move it over a little bit. So it's 30 inches here, and so we'll have it sitting right at the 15, so it's got to be pushed over about 1.5 inches. And I'm also probably going to push it back into the wall a little bit. These studs are 24 inches on center, and when we go to put in the 1/2 inch dense shield, it requires some blocking, and so we'll put some 2x6 blocking in there. I need some at 22 3/4, so let's get that cut. Best part about this wood is that it's free. to put some more blocking here at the bottom. Alright, so we're installing the framing for the shower cubby, and so I'll bring you over here because on the bottom I'd like there to be a slope, and I just wanted to do this, you know, pre-slope so that I don't have to worry about it later. So if we come over 5.5 inches, which is approximately what this 2x6 is in terms of the run, we're going to rise about 1/4 inch in that amount of time. That should be plenty of slope to get that water down off of that, and so that, you know, we don't want the water pooling in the cubby, obviously. Alright, so let's install this. So now that that's down, we'll check, make sure that there's still a nice slope. So we know that there's a good slope there. And we'll check it this way. Make sure that it's level. We're good. Alright, so we got this is level here all the way across. And we also have it leaning towards the shower to give our pre-slope for our tile to get that water drained off of there quick if there's any water that gets up onto this cubby. And then we also have, we have to cut this back more because we want the finished opening to, let's say, be 12 inches, but we have to have another board like this that's 1.5 inches. And so we got 1.5 inches off of 12. It's going to take us to 13.5. Then we got another inch to 14.5 to get us through the backer board if it's 1/2 inch on top and bottom, and then we got another, let's say, 2/4 inches to get us to 15 inches approximately if you account for the tile. Now, there's also thin set too, but I think 15 will give us plenty of room. All right, then we'll cut a board for here. So we're going to have a light go in here, and it's going to be at 15 inches, so it's in the center of the shower this way. And so I'll put a mark at, 13 and 17 because it's a 4-inch recessed shower light. And then over here, 27 3/4 from that side. And then if I do 27 3/4 from the other side, it's pretty much perfect. So that is going to be the center of my light. We'll cut a hole in there. We'll get that light in at some point. All right, so we're going to install this Torch Star recessed down light for a wet location. We're going to do it right here, and we're going to run the wiring through the attic down this wall, hook into this junction. That's what they did with the fan already. And so then that wiring will come down into this switch here, which will then control not only the fan, but also the new light. And so when you go to shower, the fan will come on and the shower light will come on. Here's the wire that we're going to use. Notice how we have a hot, a common, and a ground wire in there. And then we have at the minimum, a 1/2 inch paddle to drill the hole through so that we can get through down into this wall from the attic. All right, so I found where the vent comes up from the sink, and I found where the other wires go in, and so I just drilled another hole right here and got my new wire going down there. I think we got the hole drilled in the right place, so what we'll do is we'll get back out of this attic and let's fish this down so we got plenty of room and we're good to go. All right, so we had to turn the electricity off so we can work safely. Alright, so the cubby has been built and this light is now working, which is awesome. Alright, so let's unscrew the toilet flange. The toilet flange is pretty flexible and it allows me to pull up on it so that I can fit the tile and the backer board underneath it. So should be fine without having to replace the toilet flange. Let's remove the rest of this. We have to prepare this area for a shower pan insert that is 54 inches wide and 32 inches deep. And you're supposed to have it right against structure, and then build your backer board kind of over the top of it a little bit, and then the tile comes down, and then you caulk it. So let's check to see if our floor is level. All right, the floor is pretty level, which is great. So you can see it there. I'm going to measure from the back wall, and we're going to make a mark at exactly 32 inches. Now I'm going to try to find the center. Alright, so that'll be the positioning of the drain. Alright, so we have to move the drain location. And so luckily there's a floor joist right here and right here. And so what I'm going to do is cut out a rectangle and put a new piece of 3/4 inch OSB in there to replace what I cut out. So we're going to use a circular saw and go through the process of figuring out where to cut and then cut. you can see down in there, we do have our trap right there, and then it goes down and drains out into the laundry room downstairs. So that's the structure. We just got to restructure it so that the drain comes out center now. All right, so let's cut out a new 3/4 inch OSB, and so we're going to have 8 and 15/16, and then we're going to have it jump out to 10 inches, and then we're back to about 8 and 15/16 again. And it needs to be 25 3/8 inches long. All right, so we got that piece of OSB fitting perfectly here. I'm not going to cut the hole for the drain yet. Let's work on the plumbing. So I vacuumed most of the water out of this line and plugged it. There might still be water left in the pipe. So what I'm going to do is put a bunch of paper towels down just in case. And then I'll cut it right here and we'll go from there. Alright, now these strings represent 15 inches from the back wall and halfway from side to side, so that's 27 3/4. So right where these strings intersect is where I want my drain to be, which is important when I'm building my plumbing. Alright, so we need to couple that with this, and so we can use a hard couple here, or we can use more of a flexible one. This is probably the one I'm going to go with, just so that I have a little bit of wiggle room here when we put the shower in. So we go with something like this. We put it on here. And now we measure what the length of this pipe needs to be. We have our trap and our street L that's going to attach to our section of pipe that we need to cut. So I'm just going to rough fit it for now. Alright, so let's turn the plumbing off to the entire house here. So we'll just close that valve right there. And then we can see how our water pressure will die down very quickly. Alright, so this is about as high as my wife can reach without being on her tippy toes from the subfloor. So pretty much I want her to still be able to reach this shower head, but I really need it higher because I'm going to slam my head on it. So what we're going to do is raise it up about 8 inches, approximately. And so first step is to cut using this guy. We're going to cut through there. There might be a little bit of water in the line there, and so we'll just be careful with some paper towels ready, but let's cut through that. to use this tool to clean it. Nice and clean connection now. All right, so we're going to cut about 8 inches of our new pipe. Now we have to clean our new piece. All right, let's clean these little pieces. Lastly, let's clean this. Nice and clean. So this is what it looks like dry fit, and I'm 6'5" and I can still fit under here, even though I'll be up a little bit once the shower pan goes in. I'm definitely much more comfortable with this extra height than I was before. So I think we're good. And this mark represents the highest that my wife can reach, who's much shorter than me, without going on her tippy toes. So she should still be able to reach up here and adjust it. All right, and now we're going to disassemble this. So you can see the little hex head in there. This is the mixing valve. We have the plumbing to the house shut off, the water main. And so we'll just take one of these guys and we'll get in there and loosen it up to the point where it comes off. I think we're good. So this should then just wiggle right off, and then you have this will come off as well, and it exposes a cylinder that we need to take out so that we can get it replaced. All right, let's unscrew this. So let's pop this out. All right, so now the cylinder thing is removed. Let's go get a new one because this one's leaking. Leaks could be caused for a variety of reasons. You want to check all of these O-rings here. We also want to take this out just by turning it, and then take this out. We can look in there, especially here. And so we can look to see if there's any issues. You see that spring there and here. We can check to see if there's any damage. Sometimes there's like a little bit of a noticeable defect in these guys, and maybe you can spot a leak and then, you know, go buy the cheap parts and try to save yourself some money. It's gonna clean some of the stuff out of here. We took some of the plumber's faucet and valve grease and greased up the O-rings here. All right, you can see if you take this part out, you have these two little springs pushing against. And so I'll put that back here. Now this part gets installed into here. All right, All right, so that hot side needs to go over on the left for the hot side. So we will push it right in here. There. It's in nice and tight. All right, and so now we'll install the hardware again. So now we want to test to make sure everything's working. Remember, the water to the entire house is off, and so we turn it on and then turn it off. But let's go turn the water main back on and see how we're doing. I'm going to have my wife go down and turn the water main back on, and then I can see if there's any sort of leaks or problems. All right, go ahead and turn it on. Looks to be okay. All right, so we're going to test to see if this plumbing's working properly with a bucket. This pretty much wraps up the structure phase of the project. I can't really do too much else until I get the shower pan in. We decided to do that, and so when that comes in, I may have to fur out the walls a little bit, but I'd rather just keep the plumbing roughed in for now and not do too much to solidify that plumbing until I actually get the shower pan. Notice how the plumbing is pretty much done though. We extended that up. The light is in and the light is working, so that's awesome. And then we got the hutch, the cubby here, built. So this is it, and next time we will get moving on to some tile and put that shower in.